Good morning and welcome back to the Fire Burns Within channel. Today's video is an anniversary video. The first one that I've done of this year actually. There's been a couple I wanted to do, but then I ended up thinking, well, I won't bother. But this one I thought I'd do it anyway. So this album, Pantera's Vulgar Display of Power, is not 25 years old, it's 30 years old on 25th of this month. So I'm going to release this today. This is its actual 30th birthday. So I re-listened to this a couple of days ago and just jotted down some thoughts on each song. Pantera is one of those bands which I never fully got into. I used to own this album. I sold it quite a while ago. I used to own Cowboys from Hell as well. Those probably are my two favorite Pantera albums. I don't really like the ones that followed, and I don't like the early Pantera period too much either. So I re-listened to this. This is seen as a bit of a classic, of course. Pantera fans love Vulgar Display of Power. You know, probably one of their heaviest albums. So I re-listened to this. I'll just do a quick track by track. Mouthful War is the opener. Very up-tempo, very groovy. Gets really thrashy later on. Pantera classic, no doubt. Track 2 is A New Level, very heavy, slow burning groove, thick guitar tone. Pantera fans, they love this one. Track 3 is Walk, probably the most famous Pantera song of all. It's been overplayed to death, absolute death. But I haven't heard it for yonks, so I don't know, I quite enjoyed it for what it is. Track 4 is Fucking Hostile. I really like this track. It rips, and the chorus is quite melodic in the middle there. So Pantera fans always love this track. It's a bit of a Pantera staple, if you will. Track 5 is called This Love, a moody and heavy ballad. Another big hit. I think Pantera fans, they love this one as well. This was okay. I quite liked it. I'm not a huge fan of the chorus, so it gets bludgeoning and sort of really heavy, but I don't know, I quite like the early parts, the verses. Next track is called Rise, time to thrash it up and then groove it out later on. Not bad, not a bad track. Next track is called No Good, in brackets Attack the Radical. Love the groovy riffs in this tune. It was quite cool. Like I said, I haven't heard this album in yonks, probably not in the whole of this millennium. I heard it back in the 90s. This was an okay song, No Good, Attack the Radical. Next track is called Live in a Hole. Another hammering riff, another groovathon to follow. Quite cool, not bad. Next track is Regular People, in brackets Conceit. I quite like this track. Quite cool, underrated riffing in this track. Quite a nice tune. Probably a little bit underrated, like I said. Next track is the penultimate track. It's called By Demons Be Driven. Another riff fest, beastly heavy track. Not bad. Groovy as well. This is what Pantera fans love, so I'm sure they love this one as well. And the last track is called Hollow, and this was my favorite track on the whole album on this listening. Sort of pretty much of a ballad type, a chiming guitar lines, and then Phil singing pretty clean, very smooth. And then not screaming like he does for most of the other songs on the album. The song ends on a really heavy note, gets really groovy, really crunchy. I think this was my favorite song on the album. I like some of the big hits as well. I can listen to them. I'm not a fan. I'm not like, I don't know. There's something about Pantera which is not quite sitting well with me. I don't know. I think it's mainly Phil's vocals that I don't really like, but I like their sound, their clean, crisp sound, and the grooves. So my final opinion on the 30th anniversary of Vulgar Display of Power is that the production really stands the test of time. I mean, 30 years, you think, well, it started to show its age, but it doesn't. It's really crisp, really cleanly produced. I think the 90s switchover helped. You know, the 80s sound is slightly old and maybe not so clean, but the 90s switchover, better production techniques, better equipment, made the album sound much cleaner and stands up to today's sound as well. The songs, like I said, are pretty legendary amongst Pantera fans. You know, I can't argue with the huge influence that this album had over the 90s metal scene. You know, the early 90s heavy groove scene which was coming in with, say, Machine Head, and Pantera were the start of it, I'd say. Machine Head a little bit later. I guess this was sort of like the expected follow-up to Cowboys from Hell, because Cowboys from Hell was sort of a little bit still old school, although they had switched pretty much to the new style of heavy metal. But a Vulgar Display of Power takes it the next step further. It's a little bit heavier, it's a little bit groovier, it's a little bit more aggressive. You know, this album, like I said, is a big cornerstone in the 90s metal scene. You know, Pantera fans, they love this album, of course, in a huge way. I like this listen. I thought it was okay. You know, I'm not a huge fan of Pantera, like I said. It's just not one of those bands which I really gravitate towards. But I can appreciate the technical skill level of the riffing. The drumming is rock solid from Vinnie Paul. There's some good solos as well, of course. And the riffing is good. And Phil does his aggressive, hard man vocals. Okay, that was it. 30 years old. A Vulgar Display of Power. Pantera fans, I'm sure, are celebrating up and down the land. Okay, stay tuned.